Mr. Aaron Guzman was very excited. A great rabbi was on his way to Chelm, and that rabbi had agreed to stay at the home of Mr. Guzman.
This is such a great honor, and what a privilege it is to have such a learned Torah scholar as my personal guest in my own home.
But something unexpected began to happen. That bothered Mr. Aaron Guzman. Almost everybody in Chelm wanted to visit this great rabbi, and in doing so, they were all bringing mud on their shoes into Mr. Guzman's fancy home. His very expensive carpet was now stained with mud.
Rabbi, I mean no disrespect, but all these people coming to visit you are turning my home into a mud pile.
Don't worry, Aaron. Tonight, you will see why this is a good thing.
I don't understand how that is possible, Rabbi.
Don't worry, Aaron. Tonight, you will.
And try as he did, he was just not able to keep up with all the mud that people were bringing into his home. Later that night, Mr. Aaron Guzman fell into a deep sleep, and he began to dream. In his dream, he saw a big scale, and he heard a loud voice which said,
I am calling all of the good deeds that Mr. Aaron Guzman ever did to come forward and jump on this scale.
And suddenly, little pieces of paper that had Mr. Aaron Guzman's good deeds written on them jumped onto one side of the scale. All the charity Mr. Aaron Guzman ever gave was recorded there. All the people he had ever helped, and all his Torah study was recorded on those little pieces of paper. But then the voice spoke again.
And now I am calling all the bad deeds that Mr. Aaron Guzman ever did to come forward and jump on the other side of the scale.
Mr. Aaron Guzman was in a state of shock. His bad deeds outweighed his good ones. The scale had tipped against him. In his dream, he realized that he was being judged in a heavenly court, and he was in deep trouble. He remembered the time he was not respectful to his parents, and it was written down. And all those days that he forgot to do his prayers, and yes, the loan he failed to repay, these were all written on pieces of paper. The situation looked very bad, and then suddenly, the voice spoke yet again.
Before final judgment is pronounced, are there any other deeds that can come forth and be counted in Mr. Aaron Guzman's favor?
All of a sudden, a whole pile of mud appeared on the good side of the scale and tipped the scale in Mr. Aaron Guzman's favor. The voice spoke again.
I see that this is the mud that Aaron Guzman tolerated when visitors came to speak with a great rabbi who was a guest in his home. Let this kindness to the rabbi and his guests speak on Mr. Aaron Guzman's behalf. The matter is decided. Mr. Aaron Guzman will be admitted to heaven in his ripe old age to receive his reward for a life of good deeds.
The next morning, Mr. Aaron Guzman was greeting guests of the rabbi again, and he told each and every one of them,
Please go outside. Walk around in the mud a little more, please. And then come back inside my home again. And be sure not to wipe your feet. Don't wipe your feet. You and your mud are most welcome here. No, I am not crazy. Bring in more mud. The more mud, the better.
A traveling merchant had an accident with his wagon just outside of Chelm. One of the wooden wheels broke, and it was early Friday afternoon, just a few hours before Shabbos was to begin. Realizing that he would not be able to make it to his original destination, he decided to stay in Chelm, and he quickly found a local woodworker who would fix his wagon wheel the first thing Sunday morning. But there was still the urgent matter of being alone and without a place to sleep or eat for Shabbos.
What should I do? Time is short and a decision has to be made quickly. Yes, I will find the local shul, and there I should be able to find a kind Jew who will help me,
said the merchant. As soon as he arrived at the Chelm shul, he was immediately approached by a wealthy man who said,
I see you are a stranger. Please, my house is right next door, and we would be honored if you will stay with us for as long as you need.
Well, the merchant couldn't believe his ears. His prayers were answered. That night, in the shul, the singing and the music of the prayers were beautiful beyond any other he had ever heard in his entire life.
This is so inspiring. I could cry. This is so beautiful. I must be in heaven and dreaming.
After the Friday night services were finished, the merchant went to the rich man's house for the first Shabbos meal.
I have never tasted such delicious food. Thank you so much. And your home is so beautiful. It is like a palace.
That night, the merchant fell asleep in the most comfortable bed he had ever slept on. No other Shabbos in his entire life had ever been so perfect. Shabbos morning, he again was intoxicated by the incredibly beautiful music of the prayers. The Torah reading was absolutely perfect.
I can't get over this. The best thing that ever happened to me was having that wagon wheel break.
But all of a sudden, something felt wrong. One man in the shul was saying that the prayers should continue on page 45 of the Siddur, while another disagreed and said that page 66 was where the prayers were to continue according to the local custom. The disagreement degenerated into a major controversy.
Page 45,
yelled the one.
No, it's page 66. That is our custom. Page 66 is our custom,
yelled the other. Then the unthinkable happened. The entire congregation became involved in the dispute, with one side yelling, page 45, and the other yelling, no, page 66. Lo and behold, things went from bad to worse. A chair was thrown across the room, then another, and yet another.
I see the rabbi is sitting calmly at the front of the shul. How can that be?
Said the merchant.
I must talk to him and find out what the custom is, so that this arguing will stop.
And so the merchant quickly approached the rabbi and shouted,
Rabbi, there's a riot going on in your shul, and all you do is sit there quietly? Tell me, what is the custom? What is the custom?
The rabbi calmly looked at all the flying furniture and replied,
You see all that flying furniture? That's our custom.